All right, Reddit, gather round, because let me tell you, there are some days you just want to vanish into thin air, and my last trip to Wally World was one of them. You know me, Dakota, always got a story brewing, but this one was a whole other level of bonkers. So, picture this. It's a lazy Saturday, and I'm just trying to enjoy some much-needed retail therapy. I was in the electronics aisle, totally absorbed in comparing specs for a new e-reader. You know, the really fancy ones with the adjustable warm light. When I suddenly feel a bony grip on my arm. Not a polite tap, mind you, but a full-on, claw-like grab. I flinched, pulling my arm back instinctively. "Excuse me," I asked, my voice a little sharper than I intended, completely caught off guard. Standing there was this elderly woman, probably in her late 70s, with a face that looked like it had been perpetually set in a scowl. Before I could even finish my question, she launched into a tirade, her voice surprisingly loud for someone her age. "There you are. I've been looking for you everywhere. Why aren't you doing your job, girl? Where are the damn chips?" My jaw practically hit the floor. "Lady," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, even as my irritation started to bubble, "I don't work here. I'm just a customer like you. I'm actually looking at e-readers." I even gestured to the display, hoping a visual cue would help. But logic was clearly not on her shopping list today. Her eyes narrowed into slits. "Don't you lie to me. I saw you in your little uniform earlier. Spoiler, I was wearing a band t-shirt and jeans. You're just being lazy, aren't you? Now march. Take me to the chips." And with that, she grabbed my arm again, her grip surprisingly strong, and started yanking me down the aisle. Okay, now my annoyance was morphing into genuine alarm. This wasn't just a misunderstanding. She was actually trying to physically drag me through the store. "Hey, let go of me," I protested, trying to wrench my arm free. Her nails dug into my skin. It actually stung. "I'm serious, I do not work here. You're hurting me." She ignored me, grunting and pulling harder, her face contorted in a furious grimace. She started shouting again about my supposed laziness, about needing her chips now, about how I was disrespecting my elders. I felt a surge of panic. This was getting ridiculous. And painful. I didn't know what this woman was capable of, but I definitely wasn't going to let her drag me across Wally World. In a split second, an instinct just took over. I twisted my body hard, pulling my arm free with all my might, and shoved her away from me. It wasn't a deliberate aim for a shelf, but more of a desperate, "Get off me" kind of push. She stumbled backward, lost her footing, and with a rather dramatic thump, landed right against a display of cereal boxes, which of course came tumbling down around her. And then the wailing began. Oh, the wailing. "Ow, you've crippled me, my hip, I'm going to sue. You'll never work in this town again, you hooligan." Shoppers stopped, their carts screeching to a halt, eyes wide. My heart was pounding like a drum solo. I just stood there, breathing heavily, staring at the chaos I'd inadvertently created, half terrified, half utterly furious. It wasn't long before a stern-faced security guard, followed by a very harried-looking store manager, arrived on the scene. And then, a police officer, who was already on patrol inside the store, was quickly directed to the unfolding drama. It felt like an eternity, but within minutes, I was being escorted to the manager's office, feeling like a criminal, while the old lady was still dramatically moaning amongst the flattened cereal boxes. The officer, a no-nonsense woman with kind eyes, motioned for me to sit down. "All right, let's hear your side of it," she said, her tone surprisingly gentle. I took a deep breath and recounted everything, from the e-reader browsing to the grab, the accusations, the dragging, and my desperate, defensive shove. I even showed her the red marks on my arm. She listened intently, nodding occasionally. Then she stepped out for a moment, and I could hear muffled voices from the main part of the office. When she came back in, a small, knowing smile played on her lips. "Well, Dakota," she said, picking up a pen, "it seems Mrs. Henderson has a bit of a history with Wally World, and other stores in the area for that matter. Apparently, she's quite famous for mistaking customers for employees, and then causing a scene when they don't comply. My jaw dropped again, but this time in disbelief and a wave of relief so intense it almost made me lightheaded. So, she's done this before. The officer chuckled softly. Oh, yes, quite a few times. The manager here says she's already banned from 3 other establishments. This time, however, with the physical assault on you, things are going to be a little different for her. She paused, then added, Would you like some chocolate milk? You look a bit shaken. And honestly, that little carton of chocolate milk felt like the most comforting thing in the world right then. I sipped my chocolate milk while the officer went out to talk to Mrs. Henderson again. I couldn't quite make out all the words, but I distinctly heard the officer say, Ma'am, you're going to be detained. We'll be pressing charges for assault and battery, and frankly, the store is finally filing a permanent trespass order. You'll be going down to the station. A triumphant grin spread across my face. Justice, real, actual justice, and honestly, that chocolate milk never tasted so good. So yeah, that's the story of how my search for a fancy e-reader at Wally World turned into a full-blown physical altercation, a police report, and a small victory for yours truly. You never know what's gonna happen on a simple shopping trip, right? Stay safe out there, folks, and maybe wear a I don't work here sign next time you hit the aisles. Until next time.
If you've made it this far, you've clearly got great taste in internet drama. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more wild stories like these. All right, on to the next one.
You ever have one of those days where you just want to grab a few things from the store and get out, but the universe decides to throw a full-blown chaotic tantrum instead? Yeah, that was my Tuesday. And it all started with my mom, a grocery list, and a white hat that apparently screamed, I work here, help me. So there I was, Aubrey, 17, and on a mission. My parents had tasked me with a grocery run for some baking essentials and eventually dish soap. I mean, how hard could it be, right? I just wanted to get in, get out, and get back to my procrastination. I'd thrown on a navy blue coat and my favorite white beanie, mostly because it was chilly, but also because it hid my bed head. Little did I know, this seemingly innocent outfit was about to become my personal uniform of terror. I was deep in the labyrinth of the supermarket, trying to decipher which flower was the right flower, when my phone buzzed. It was Mom. Oh, and grab some dish soap too, sweetie. Great, I thought, just what I needed, another item added to my already confusing quest. My brain was already in overdrive, mentally mapping the store, when I decided to pivot towards the cleaning aisle. That's when it happened. I was in the condiment aisle of all places, nowhere near the dish soap, clearly staring blankly at a wall of mustards when I felt a sharp tap on my shoulder. I turned around, a little startled, to see a woman in her late 40s, sunglasses perched regally on her forehead, a scowl already forming on her face. Her arms were crossed, and she looked like she'd just chewed on a lemon. Oh, joy. It was a Karen. Excuse me, she barked, not even a hello. I've been looking for someone and you seem to be avoiding me. I need help finding the condiments. I blinked. Me? I asked, pointing a thumb at my chest. I'm sorry, I don't actually work here. I'm just trying to find some baking stuff myself. Her eyebrows practically shot off her forehead. What do you mean you don't work here? You're wearing the uniform. She gestured vaguely at my coat and hat. Don't lie to me, young lady. Just tell me where the fancy hot sauces are. I'm in a hurry. My heart started doing a nervous little tap dance. No, really, I insisted, trying to sound calm, though my voice probably wobbled a bit. This is just my coat. I'm a customer just like you. I even pointed to my half-empty basket. Karen's face went from scowl to a dangerous shade of crimson. Her voice rose a few decibels. Don't be ridiculous, are you new? Is that why you're being so useless? Just take me to the hot sauces or I'll speak to your manager. She took a step closer, towering over me a bit. I felt a surge of panic. This wasn't just annoying, it was intense. I decided the best course of action was to just leave. Look, I really can't help you, I mumbled, trying to sidestep her. I've got my own shopping to do. That's when she snapped. Before I could even take a second step, her hand shot out, grasping the hood of my navy blue coat. Hard, she yanked me back with surprising force, sending my basket tumbling from my grasp. Eggs, flour, and a bag of chocolate chips scattered across the linoleum floor. "You are not walking away from me, you disrespectful little brat," she shrieked, her grip tightening on my hood, practically choking me. My head snapped back and a sharp pain shot through my neck. Tears welled up in my eyes, blurring the fluorescent lights. I tried to pull away, clawing at her hand, but she was surprisingly strong, fueled by what felt like pure rage. I was utterly terrified. Just then, what sounded like an angel's voice cut through the chaos. "Ma'am, let go of that girl immediately." Two supermarket employees, including a man with a manager name tag, were practically sprinting towards us. They'd clearly been drawn by Karen's shouting and the sight of me struggling. The manager was quick, placing himself between Karen and me, firmly but gently separating her hand from my coat. "She is not an employee, ma'am," the manager stated, his voice calm but firm, "and you have no right to lay hands on a customer, especially a minor." As soon as Karen's vice-like grip loosened, I didn't hesitate. I stumbled, grabbed my dropped items as fast as I could, and bolted past the manager and the other employee, not even looking back. My heart was pounding, my cheeks were wet, and all I wanted was to be anywhere but there. I was halfway down the next aisle, still shaking, when a calm voice called out, "Excuse me, miss, are you okay?" It was one of the store's security guards, a kind-looking older man who caught up to me. I probably looked like a mess. He saw my tear-streaked face and the disarray of my basket. I managed to stammer out what had happened, my voice thick with unshed tears. He listened patiently, nodding. "That's completely unacceptable," he said, his gaze hardening slightly as he looked back towards the condiment aisle. "Are you hurt? Do you want to press charges?" He offered to help me collect my scattered groceries and escorted me back to a less populated register. I just wanted to go home. The thought of dealing with police, statements, and possibly court, it was too much. I shook my head, my voice still a little shaky. "No, thank you. I just want to pay and leave." He helped me pick up the last of my things and even offered to get me a fresh carton of eggs. I paid, my hands still trembling, and practically ran out of the supermarket. Walking home, the cold air felt good on my flushed cheeks, but the adrenaline slowly drained, leaving me feeling hollow and angry. I kept replaying the scene in my head, the feeling of her hand on my hood, the terror when I couldn't get away. I couldn't believe that Karen, that absolute stranger, thought it was okay to grab and hurt someone, especially when I'd repeatedly told her I didn't work there. She didn't get arrested, didn't seem to face any immediate consequences beyond being told off by a manager. It just felt so unfair. From now on, I swear, if I ever have to go grocery shopping again, I'm wearing a shirt that says in big flashing letters, "I do not work here, leave me alone," or maybe just my pajamas. Anything to avoid another run-in with someone like that. Anyway, that's my story. It was supposed to be a simple grocery run and it turned into a nightmare. Thanks for letting me vent, guys. Seriously, stay safe out there. Some people are just something else.
You know those days where you wake up and just know something completely ridiculous is about to happen? Yeah, this was one of those mornings. I don't own a dog, never have. So when I tell you I got screamed at by a total stranger for neglecting my phantom pet, you can imagine my confusion. It was a typical Tuesday commute. I'd biked the first leg, now I was at the bus stop, leaning against a scruffy tree, just chilling and waiting for the 7:15. Suddenly, I hear this shriek. Not like a happy shriek, more like a banshee on a bad day shriek. I turned to see this lady, probably mid-50s, marching towards me with a furious scowl, her earbuds jammed in so tight I swear they were fused to her brain. She was flailing her arms, practically vibrating with rage. "How dare you, sir?" she bellowed, stopping a few feet from me, her voice cutting through the morning air. "You are a disgrace. Leave your poor dog to roam around like that. It's absolutely shameful." My jaw almost hit the pavement. "Ma'am, I don't have a dog," I tried to explain, raising my hands a little, trying to calm her down. But nope, her earbuds were her personal soundproof booth, apparently. She didn't hear a word. She just kept screaming, "Call animal control. I'm going to call the police. People like you shouldn't be allowed to own pets." And here's where it got truly absurd. As she was tearing into me, this scruffy black dog, tail wagging ever so slightly, ambled out from behind her. It looked up at her, then calmly trotted over to me, sniffed my outstretched hand, the one I'd used to try and placate the lady, and then gave it a gentle lick. Like, dude, seriously? The living, breathing evidence against her was literally walking right under her nose. I couldn't help but let out a little snort of laughter. The irony was just too rich. This only seemed to fuel her fire. She shot me a death glare, muttered something about sickos and animal abusers. Then, still screaming into her own personal concert, stomped off down the street, completely oblivious to the dog following a few feet behind her. I was still chuckling, shaking my head when a new voice laced with terror pierced the quiet. "Get that dog away from me, now." I turned. A woman, probably in her 70s, was practically cowering on the bus stop bench, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. The black dog, oblivious to the drama it was causing, had walked past me and was now sniffing around a lamppost near her. "Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry," I said, immediately sensing her distress. "It's not my dog, but I'll get him away from you." I started moving towards the dog. "Not your dog? Then why is it following you? Just get it away, please," she shrieked, pressing herself into the back of the bench. Her body language screamed pure, unadulterated phobia. Are you afraid of dogs?" I asked gently, keeping my voice low. She nodded frantically, her breath coming in short gasps, terrified since I was a child. "Okay, new problem." The earbud lady was a lost cause, but this woman was genuinely scared. I scooped up the surprisingly docile dog. It was a medium-sized retriever mix, actually pretty cute, and held it close, trying to soothe both it and the lady. "Hey, it's okay. See, I've got him. He's not mine, honestly. I think he's lost." My bus was due any minute. I couldn't just leave a scared old woman and a lost dog. I scanned the street, hoping for inspiration. My eyes landed on a driveway across the street where a younger girl, maybe late teens, was sitting in her car, probably waiting for someone. "Excuse me," I called out, jogging a little closer, the dog still in my arms. "Hey, could you possibly help me out? This dog isn't mine and this lady here is terrified. Could you maybe take him just for a bit? Call animal control or a shelter or something. Keep him safe until his owner shows up." She looked a little surprised, but then her face softened when she saw the dog. "Oh, sure," she said, opening her car door. "He looks so sweet. Bring him over." I practically ran, relief flooding through me. I handed the dog over, gave her a quick rundown of the morning's bizarre events, and thanked her profusely. She promised to call around and take care of him. I waved goodbye, feeling a huge weight lift off my shoulders, and headed back to the bus stop just as my bus pulled up. The scared lady on the bench gave me a shaky smile and a quiet thank you. For the next couple of days, I couldn't shake the image of that sweet, lost dog. I hoped he was warm, safe, and that his owner was frantically looking for him. I wondered if he'd been chipped, if the girl had found someone. It's funny how a random, chaotic morning can just stick with you. Then 3 mornings later, back at the same bus stop, I saw him, the black dog, and he was on a leash, walking with a really nice-looking guy who was smiling down at him. My heart gave a little happy thump. "Excuse me," I called out, a huge grin spreading across my face. "Is that your dog?" The man looked at me a bit surprised. "He is. Why, do you know him?" "Oh man, you have no idea." I launched into the whole ridiculous story, from the screaming earbud lady to the terrified bench lady, and how the kind girl had taken him in. His face went from confusion to utter relief. "That's Rover," he exclaimed, bending down to hug the dog. "He went missing a few days ago, must have gotten out of the yard. We've been looking everywhere. The girl who found him called me yesterday, thank God. She told me the story too, but I never got to thank the guy who held him." He looked at me, his eyes widening. "You were that guy, weren't you?" I just nodded, beaming. Rover apparently remembered me too and gave my hand a happy lick. It was such a small thing, really, but standing there, seeing that dog reunited with his clearly adoring owner after such a bizarre and stressful morning, it just felt good. Like, genuinely, profoundly good. Sometimes you just gotta roll with the punches, even when the punches are phantom dogs and screaming strangers, and you might just end up helping someone out, or something out.
Got time for one more. This next video is worth it.